let's talk about volume and finding the volume of prisms and cylinders. So, first, let's talk about what is this thing called volume. So, take a second, kind of think about what you know about volume, what you think about volume, and then see if you can come up with a definition of it. Just off the top of your head. Don't. I'm going to give you one here in a second, so don't necessarily try to look it up on Google or in a dictionary or something. Just try to come up with one on your own. All right. Well, I have volume as the measure of the amount of space inside of a solid figure. Okay, and we're going to measure this typically in cubic units of some kind. Now there are lots of different cubic units. You can use, cubic inches, cubic miles, cubic meters. All these are different types of measurements of volume, but we typically have separate ones that we use. We use gallons, right, or milliliters, and milliliters is probably the most direct one because a milliliter is actually 1 cubic centimeter. Okay, that's 1 cubic centimeter. And that's the beauty of the metric system is that if you have 1 centimeter and you make a cube out of that, that gives you 1 milliliter. And then if you want to take it a step further, if you fill that up with water, that's going to equal 1 gram. So that's sort of the basis of some of those ideas of the metric system. All right, well, let's take a look at, sometimes it's easier to see what this looks like, okay? So let's go ahead, and I found a visual that works pretty well here, I think. And what you can see here is if there's a rectangular prism, okay, and it has side units of 3, then what I'm going to get here is I get 3 layers, right? I get I got a row of 3 here, I got another row of 3 here, and together this will make a total of 9 cubes, right? So let's type in that. We got 9 cubes in that bottom layer, okay? And then it's going to see how many layers would it take to fill the entire cube. So we're going to get 3 of those layers, right? Since we have a side length of 3. Hey, good job. And so how many would that fill in all together? Okay, and they're going to fill it in there. And if I have 3 layers of 9 cubes, then all together we're going to end up with how many? That's right, 27. Let it fill all the way up. And there you go. There you have it. Okay, kind of like a Rubik's Cube. All right, so let's go back here. That's what volume is. So now let's take a look. To find the volume of a prism, what we're going to do is we're going to find the base of it, okay? Find the base area. So here's our base, okay? Find the area of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a layer of cubes, and you see how many layers that is, okay? So that's what you do. That you take the base here, which would be 4 times 2. So I'd get 8 cubes this way. And if I stack them up on top of each other with a height of 3, I'm going to get 8 3 times. Okay, so it's kind of, you find the area of the base here, and then we're going to multiply it by the height. All right, and I'd like you to think about this not as volume equaling length times width times height, because that's just a method to find the volume. But what we're talking about is how many cubes will actually fit in it, and how can you find it. And I think the rest of volume will make a lot more sense if you do that. Okay, so if we were to do this, we're going to say it's 4 times 2, right? So there's 8 here times 3. So this is going to be a total of 24 cubic units, whatever those units are in this case. All right, so let's try another one here. Why don't you go ahead, and what I want you to do is, you don't need a formula. Think about what we just learned about finding the base and using the height. So what I want you to do is go ahead and find this. Pause the video, try it, go. All right, so in this case, I hope you saw this as this triangle here is the base of this shape, right? It's kind of like I have this triangle and I have a whole bunch of them and I stack them this way, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of the triangle, okay? Because the base is a triangle. So the area of the triangle, okay, that's a big area of the triangle, is going to be equal to 1/2, okay, the base of it, which is 8, times the height, which is 6. Okay, so the area of the triangle is going to be equal to 1/2 of 8 is 4. 4 times 6, 24. Okay, so that's going to be 24 centimeters squared. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number of them and I'm going to turn them into cubes, right? So if I turn them into cubes, I'm going to have, that means that inside of here there are 24 cubes, okay? And then I'm going to have 13 stacks of them, okay? So the volume is going to be equal to 24 times 13, okay? So in this case, we get, let's see, 240 plus 72. Let's do that on the side. 240 plus 3 times 24 is going to be 72. So what do we got? 312. Okay, so the volume here is 312 cubic centimeters. Okay, to 312 cubic centimeters, which if you turn this into milliliters, this would be 312 centimeters or milliliters. And sometimes you'll hear, if you ever watch doctor shows or something about medicine, sometimes you'll hear the abbreviation CC. You know, they might say like, I need 40 cc's of medicine. What they're talking about is cubic centimeters. It's the same as milliliters. So, okay, so hopefully you got that. Let's try another one. Okay, let's take a look at cylinders. All right, now again, cylinder, you're going to take the base area. Well, the base of a cylinder is a circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of the base, the area of the circle, and then we're going to multiply it by the height, okay? Because it's basically a whole bunch of stacks. Think of it as like quarters, right? If you have 1/4, and then you stack a whole bunch of them, that's going to give you a cylinder. So if you find the area of the circle, and then we multiply it by the number of circles that we stack up, we're going to get the volume. So let's try it. Let's try it with that. Okay, so you go ahead and you try to find the volume of that cylinder. Okay, well the volume of this cylinder is going to be, I need to take the area of the base, right? So the area of the circle, which is going to be equal to pi times the radius squared. And the radius in this case is 3 squared. Okay, so the area of the circle is going to be 9 times pi. Right? Now, I'm not going to do anything with this yet. I'm not going to multiply by pi because then I'm going to have to round, and I don't want to round until the very end. Okay, well, the area of the circle is 9 pi. Well, how many of those circles am I going to stack on top? I'm going to stack 9 meters of them. So I'm going to take the volume is going to be 9 pi times how many times I stack it up, which is 9. So my volume is equal to 81 pi. Okay. Now, and this should be meters cubed, okay? Cubic meters. Now, this is the actual, like, most accurate answer, okay? This is like a clean answer. Now, if we wanted to actually multiply it using a calculator, and typically a calculator with a pi button is better than trying to use 3.14. It'll be more accurate. We would do that and we would round it, okay? So if I grab my calculator here, I'm not going to use, let's see. Let me see if this scientific calculator on the computer actually has a pi button, which I think if I go to scientific, does it have a pi? Yes, it does have a pi button. So we'll do that. We'll do 81 times pi. Okay, see how many it gives us, equals, and it's about 254.5. Okay, so this is about 254.5 cubic meters. Okay, so, but again, what I would like you to do is I want you to keep it like that, because that is the cleanest answer there. Okay, now if we have to actually estimate how many cubic meters it is, then we can go ahead and give this answer. All right, now let's go ahead. I want you to try doing these 3 on your own. Go ahead, pause the video, go. All right, so number 1, the volume is going to be, if I take the base, in this case the base is the same anywhere, so I could say the base is going to be 8 times 10, okay, which is going to be, so that's 80, right? And then I'm going to multiply that by 3, so my volume is going to be 240 cubic meters. Okay, that's for number 1. For number 2, the base here is this triangle, okay? Now, I know the base is the triangle because there's another one just like it above there. Okay? And those are the things that are being stacked. Okay, you have to look to say what is the thing that's actually being stacked here. Okay, so the volume is going to be equal to the area of the base, okay, which is going to be 1/2 times 6 times 9. And then I'm going to take that and I'm multiply it by 4. So I'm going to get volume is equal to 3. Okay, 3 times 9. Well, let's do 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 9, 108 cubic yards. All right, and finally in number 3, the volume is going to be the area of the circle, right? This is my base, the area of the base. So I'm going to get pi times 5 squared, and then that times 15. All right, so the volume is going to be equal to, let's see, 25 times 15. So 25 times 15 pi. So volume is going to be equal to 375. Let me get the calculator just to make sure. I don't want to give you a wrong answer. 375. Okay, so 375 pi feet cubed. And if I needed to, right, that's the best answer there. But if I needed to, let's go ahead and we'll do 375 times pi, and we'll round this, and I'm going to say the volume is about 1178.1. 1178.1 cubic feet. Okay, but again, this is the most accurate answer because there's no rounding. Okay, let's take a look. We'll do one more. Actually, I have 2 more for you here. I want you to actually, you're going to do this one and the next one on your own and bring them to class. And really, I want you to just kind of look at that and which do you think has the greater volume. Don't actually calculate it. Try to really guess first, okay? Come up with your estimate, guess, and then you can calculate it afterwards, and let's talk about which one, if you were right. We'll talk about that in class, okay? So do that. You can pause the video if you need to. And then what else I want you to do is I want you to do this one on your own, okay? Water storage tank has a cylindrical shape. The base has a diameter of 18 meters, and the tank is 32 meters high. How much water to the nearest cubic unit can the tank hold, okay? So that's what I want you to find. Bring that to class with you tomorrow, and we'll go over it. Okay, good luck.